One,
I
two,
was talking
three.
to the homie Jason. Oh.
Good. Go ahead.
Welcome to the Get Busy podcast.
Oh.
I saw that there was the action hand clap. Hey, that clap sounds like a machine, like you actually got one of those what you call it. It doesn't sound like a regular clap when you do that, by the way.
Gotcha.
It actually sounds like you're
Thunderclap.
What's that thing called?
I don't know.
The Hollywood thing. I just call it the Hollywood thing. The clapper.
Welcome to the Get Busy podcast, y'all.
Isaac Assad, Izzy.
B. Jones. Government name's Brandon. Doesn't sound as cool, but you know what I'm saying?
B. Dot.
That's the name my mama gave me, so we here.
Hey.
Yeah.
And there it is.
So it's good, man. Episode 4, right?
4.
Episode 4.
Steps in the right direction.
It is. I didn't think we was making it this far. You know 4 episodes. Yeah. All right.
Man.
What we talking about today, man?
Man, so today I think it's just something that's very necessary for everybody in life, man.
Okay.
How to Woooosah. And the importance of it.
Wait, so for those who may not have seen Bad Boys 2,
Oh, yeah.
explain the definition of Woooosah.
It's just how to decompress, how to get stuff off your chest, how to just kind of take a deep breath in, take a deep breath out, and release some of the pressure that's going on in your life, you know, before you get to that place of like exploding.
Yeah, take a Woooosah moment.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good question, man.
I'm not really sure if that's a real, I mean, it's probably a real term. I've never actually looked it up, and I don't know from anything else other than that movie, but I wouldn't doubt it if that's, you know, a real portion of some of that stuff. Woooosah, that is. But
if it was, you can't use it no more because it don't sound real because it was in the movie. So you own like a yoga studio or
Woooosah.
Everybody say Woooosah, like that's not real. That's for play. Yeah.
So I actually want to get into something about that. You just said yoga studio, and that's one of the things that I was going to kind of talk about. But I read something yesterday. Well, I guess we're here. We'll get back to that in a second. But it's. So what are your thoughts about yoga? Let me just go ahead and jump right into it.
I mean, I ain't never did it. I probably ain't never gonna do it.
All right.
So I don't really think much about it.
So, you know, I've never done it either. You know, I know that there's like different kind of stretches and poses and stuff like that.
Right.
And in my mind, it's a lot of people use it for, you know, stretching, you know, getting their body right, but also for decompression, for like centering themselves, all this other kind of stuff, right?
For sure.
But I was reading something yesterday, man, that was talking about the demonic aspect of yoga and it allowing a person to enter into a place of spiritual like openness, but where you're still open to other things that's not necessarily Christ. So if you're going about the practice of yoga without like a Christ-centered mind, then you could be opened up spiritually. You know, you can get your mind and your body, but then it also allows for the other influences to come in too. I'd never taken into consideration before. Like I've always just thought, you know, I'm just stretching, I'm getting my mind right. You know, I know that meditation is important in life. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
It says to go to your quiet, you know, go to your quiet place. You know what I mean?
I thought you were gonna talk about the yoga pants with the see-through, the sheer parts.
Whoa.
Like that is demonic. Who designed those?
Yo, I'm gonna be honest, man. Nobody needs to be wearing yoga pants like for any reason ever. You know what I'm saying? Like the yoga pant,
man.
like in and of itself. Like I'm grateful for them. Don't get it twisted. You know, my wife, you know, But
My wife rocks some yoga pants too. I don't have a problem with them.
hey, I mean, I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
I
but
don't. I don't like this the sheer parts though.
no, I
The
don't.
little design. It just don't look good. I've never seen one pair, and they make them all different types. I've never seen one pair that look like, oh, those look straight. They all look goofy. I'm sorry if anybody wears those the yoga pants with the little sheer parts, like yoga pants with a combination of stockings. They look bad, yo.
For what too? That's the part I don't really get.
I mean, it's style, but I just it's just personal. I don't like it. That's just me. But regular yoga pants ain't no big deal to me. You know what I'm saying? But do y'all thing.
Hey. So, but yeah, that's that was very interesting when I was reading that. This was just yesterday, actually. I was reading that, and I was like, that's that's interesting. It was about this person that said that they were, that was kind of their lifestyle for a long time. They went through training and went through all this other kind of stuff, and they were born again and was told that it was, the Holy Spirit led them to see that it was because they went from yoga into all the rituals and into Buddhism, and it kind of went down a path of like, started off at one, but I don't think it in and of itself is necessarily bad. But I don't. Anyway, so the Woooosah moment, or how to Woooosah, how to decompress. Yes. Man, we're in such a time right now where there's so much demand on our attention. There's so much demand on our time, especially as adults. People started using the term adulting. You know what I'm saying? But it's such a real thing because now more than ever, life isn't as simple as it once was. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's constant access at all times on your phone. Work is always right here. The kids are always right here. The wife is always right here. There's never a time where you get to actually just kind of disconnect. When we were growing up, it was a different situation. When moms or dad or somebody went to work, they were at work, you know what I mean? And the kids, if it was an emergency, you could probably call work. Yeah. You know what I mean? But it wasn't. And when they left work, it was gone until they got home. You know what I'm saying? If they went to the supermarket, if they went to the store or whatever else it was, there was no more access. And I think that allows for people to kind of get into yourself for a minute. You were driving, you could turn the radio, you could do whatever it was you needed to do to kind of get that moment to yourself to just kind of. But now, you get off work, the wife's calling. You get off work, the husband's calling, or the kids are calling, and they need something. You got to get to this place, and there's never that moment to like just be to yourself unless you actually are intentional about going about it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so many times it's like pressure valves. You know what I mean? And you have maybe 10 pressure valves, and one of them is kids, and one of them is work, and one of them is school, and one of them, whatever it is, and they're all blowing. And you got to slowly but surely release some pressure somewhere so that everything doesn't just blow. Right. And that's what the this Woooosah conversation is about. This decompress conversation is about today. And that's where the yoga thing came into place, because I was thinking about that being one of the avenues that people could take. Not necessarily yoga itself. I was just going to talk about some physical practices to allow your mind to kind of chill. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay. That's real. I mean, I think a lot of us can relate to, you pulling into the driveway, you kind of sit there for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, let me just sit here for a while before I go into the house. That's like a thing, you know what I'm saying?
Bruh, I almost got it down to like a science. It's like 11 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's about too far. You get about 5 to 7 and everything's kind of cool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't do that all the time. I mean, that's like a, once in a blue moon type thing. Sometimes you just gotta sit, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just, all right, let me decompress a little bit before I open this door. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? When I think about like how to Woooosah, like, or how to relax, decompress. So one of the thoughts that came to me was like, well, what are you consuming? What is it that you're taking in? Because a lot of times, like a lot of the things that stress us out, Are you watching the news a lot?
Mm-hmm.
And that's nothing wrong with being informed. That's like, you're a grown up. You watch the news, but like, I make a confession. Like, I don't watch the news hardly ever. So I don't know what's going on in the world until people tell me about the stuff that they're stressed about that they heard going on with the president or with the 27 murders that happened today, and you know what I'm saying, the whatever.
Yeah. Especially that local news, yo. It's like it's geared to stress you out. Like it's a formula, and the formula is A squared plus B squared equals stressed out, and that's what they run with every day until that last little 47 seconds before it goes off, and they're like, oh, a puppy was born, and was rescued or something like that.
Right. So, like, okay, I might cut the news on. This is like once every couple of months. It's like, oh, it's still the same. Another couple of murders today. Or, some police corruption or something. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, yeah, I'm good. I could have dealt without that. So I get my news off YouTube.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's just what it is. But, again, I kind of pick and choose, like, based on the thumbnail, like, what kind of topic I want to look at. But other than that, yeah, I don't really stress out.
I definitely feel that, because I'm the same way, man. And news used to be something I watched all the time, but then I realized it's just like a cycle, man. It's like a formula, literally, and it didn't matter. For a while, I was thinking maybe that was just here, but then as traveling, across America, it's the same story everywhere. Oh, this is this, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened. Oh, the weather's going to be this. This is terrible. This is terrible. That's bad. This is worse.
Yeah.
Good story. So it's been years since I've watched the news for real. And I get my stuff offline too. And a little side note though, man, I was talking to the homie Jason, because my dad told me something. He said, people nowadays are going to forget how to read. He's like, everything is talking to you. Everything is telling you something. You got to do a little bit of reading to get stuff done. He's like, but people, their attention span is so bad. People can't finish like books anymore. He's like, nobody reads articles. The reading is actually going down. It's like, that's very interesting. But sure enough, like, I find even myself, I'll read some headlines. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then I click into the article, maybe, and then when I do, I'll get the gist of whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? But most of it was based off the headline, and then I form my own opinion about it, and then I go into the next thing, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, I've been like that since like 1991. Reading is not fundamental for me. I can read, don't get me wrong, but like when I read, like my mind wanders. It's like my brain is like, so even stuff that's interesting to me is like I automatically like start skipping lines. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like it doesn't keep my attention. And so, we started reading the Bible, going through the 1 year plan to read the whole Bible. That's when I told you about like, yo man, it reads to you. Now I feel like, dang, I might have just stifled you. Like I gave you something that's easier.
But I'll be honest though, man, because, and I'll even have it, and I probably shouldn't be doing this, but I'll kind of be doing it. Depends on what the situation. Cause I've been listening to it, and I'm gonna be honest, it's been like one of the best things that's happened, man. Really, you know what I'm saying? To be honest,
Okay.
Like because I'm in the car so much, and when I have an opportunity to, like if I'm waiting at a restaurant or if I'm at a red light or something like that, like I'll be actually reading along with it, or maybe even reading a little bit ahead and listening to it. And I feel like my mind, it was kind of like that when I was in school too, man. Like when I'm hearing something and seeing it, and especially if I'm writing it also, it sticks a lot more. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But if I'm just reading it, man, sometimes I could read something, finish a page, and I need to go right back to the top of the page. You know what I mean? Because it's like I know I just read the words. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'll go into the next page, and if depends what my interest level is, man. But if it's not something I'm like 100% gung ho about, then I'm right. I'm just, what did I just read? So to hear it.
You ever got to the point where you're reading something, you're thinking about something at the same time, and then you realize as you've been thinking, like, wait, I've been reading this whole time too. Like, am I like a genius? But like I don't remember what I just read, even though I'm like mechanically I'm still reading, even though I'm thinking of something else. So like, yeah, that's made school kind of difficult for your boy.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, but kind of getting off on a tangent. But yeah, what are you taking in, and like who are you talking to? You know what I'm saying? Like talking about, because I think you wanted to get into dealing with like grief and stress.
Yeah.
Um,
And
I
stressors.
yeah.
So so to that point, man, like I just feel like there's a way. First of all, there's a lot of factors we just talking about a lot of factors that can bring stress to your life. And what you just said, what are you consuming? There's a lot of things that can bring anxiety and like comparison and a lot of other things that we don't even necessarily be thinking about consciously, but it's still impacting our lives. And so like social media for a lot of people is one of those things. My wife actually, you might not want me to tell this, but I'm gonna go ahead and use it because it's kind of a testimony to her. She was like, hey baby, she was looking at stuff online and seeing people traveling to this place, traveling to that place. And in her mind, she should be at a comparable place to where they are doing similar things. Has no idea what their lives are like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But she sees this image and not even consciously, but subconsciously starts comparing herself, you know what I mean, to what it is that they're doing. And also with TV shows, she had that same similar issue. So she started watching older, like fantasy style shows because she knows that it's the past. She knows that it's not some place that she can actually be. So she's not, when she broke that down to me, I thought that was first I thought it was very real that she was able to like recognize it. It showed some growth in what it is that she's trying to get to, you know what I mean? But it's something that people really do deal with, you know what I mean? And so just from television, we sit here and just click, and we watch this person, we watch that person, we watch the third person, have no idea what that's actually doing to us.
Yeah.
And then the people, that we talk to and deal with, you got a coworker that's doing X, Y, and Z, talking about this, that, and the third. You got a friend that's, always seems to need something, or always seems to, you have to give them your shoulder. And sometimes that starts to drain, you know what I mean? It starts to be draining on you.
Yeah.
And sometimes folks need an outlet as well,
Yeah.
not just to always be that strong shoulder, always be that person that's able to be the rock. We need to release pressure ourselves as well. And so,
yeah. So I was going to talk about like how helpful it is like to help other people. And so I think for one, that's a good way to take the focus off yourself when you're going through stuff, and take that time and check in on your friends and your family.
Yes.
And because we're all, we all go through stuff at different times, different seasons, or whatever. And so, I remember when I was going through a situation, I don't even remember what it was. It was definitely a marriage issue. And it was like really bad. And I was like stressing out and tired. And then I don't even remember, like you called me just out the blue. And I can't remember what you said, but it's like, it wasn't like a regular like, hey, what's up, man? I was just thinking about you calling. It was like something else. It was like, you said something like you felt compelled. Like you feel like God's just like, hey, you need to call your boy right now. And then like, so I remember I remember
that, yeah.
Yeah, I was sitting in my room, a little sitting area, and on the little couch, and you said what you said, and I just broke down crying. You know what I'm saying? And you kind of understood, like, you just said what you had to say, and then and then left me at it. But I think we talked for like a little bit, but like, it was just like one of those things where it helped me because I knew, for one, having a friend that cares, Two, having a friend that hears from the Holy Spirit. You know what I'm saying?
It's huge.
Or I don't even know if you knew it was the Holy Spirit at the time, but it was like I'm going through it right now. Like when you said whatever whatever it was you said, I just broke down crying, and you just like encouraged me in that moment, and then like I knew that was like tangible evidence, like God was there. You know what I'm saying? And so like that helped me like get through that situation. So we definitely have to look out for each other because you just don't know. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Especially friends you didn't talk to in a while, and whatever. So it does, and it helps. Like I said, it helps when you put your focus in on other people. Then you kind of put your stuff to the side for a second, and then you can end up talking it out. Like, hey, I'm going through something too, and you know what I'm saying. So it's good to have people to talk to. So biblical definite example. Like, did Jesus ever feel stressed out and anxiety?
So, what I'm thinking of is very specifically, and I'm not sure if this is really a good example. I'm trying to put the whole story together in my head. But when he went to pray and he asked the disciples to stay up with him, right?
Yep.
And he went away, like, okay, stay here. I'm going to go further in and I'm going to pray, but just, stay with me, pray for me, and each time he went away, they ended up falling asleep and he came back like, disappointed, that pressure was getting to him because he knew what was coming. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they didn't really understand the severity of what was coming, but, what was the outcome of that? Like, did he get that sense of relief?
No, I don't think he did. So, and that's actually what makes like the Garden of Gethsemane, like that's like the coolest Bible story to me. Because for one, like we serve a God that can actually relate to us. Like I know what it feels to have anxiety. Like that, I forgot when it said he sweat blood. That's an actual medical condition. It's called something with an H, hemato something, Latin word or whatever. But like he was feeling so much anxiety, and he was asking God, like, Lord, if there's another way,
right?
Like, can you please like take this cup from me? But then he was like, but not my will, let your
will be done.
Let your will be done. So that's how you knew it was real. Like, because God, if you think about it, like God could have saved us any kind of way, right?
Yeah.
But he chose like a real life, like pain, sacrifice, torture. Like it didn't have to go down that way. He could have wrote the story however he wanted to, but he just chose to do it that way. And it's like really amazing, like that God would come down, put on flesh,
put himself through that.
And the Bible made it really clear, like he didn't have to do it. That's what made it love. Like it was a choice. It wasn't like they caught him and now he, you know what I'm saying? Like he's a victim. I mean, he was victimized, but like he could have called, I think it was like 7 or 12 legions. I don't know how many is in a legion, but like pretty sure that was a very formidable force against human beings.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like he didn't have to suffer. Like he could have just snapped his fingers. Like,
you know what I mean? Forget this.
Because if it was me, nah, bro, that wouldn't happen. So yeah.
I think to that point too, though, because even sometimes what you were saying a minute ago is like not just reach out, check on your friends and stuff like that, but giving back in general. You know what I'm saying? When you have a lot that gets put on you, as you're giving of yourself and as you're doing the things that God is calling you to do, giving back to the community, giving back to his people, as you're giving, man, you're also getting filled, and it might not be from the people that you're dealing with. It a lot of times can be, you know what I'm saying? But the Spirit is filling or can fill you in those situations also. You get that supernatural fulfillment, you know what I'm saying? Which can also alleviate some of that stress.
So let me ask you this, because I know you've gone down a bunch of times to the was it Atlanta Mission to help feed the homeless,
and to do the Thursday night Bible studies.
Okay, so like that's a real life example. So how does you doing that? How does that affect you and like just your daily life and stress or whatever? Like how does that play into like when you're down there serving?
Man, I'm gonna be 100% real. Like that's one of the dopest things that I do. Like, period. And it's just really rewarding to see when people appreciate something. You know what I mean? And so like just going down before the Bible study starts, we go and just talk to people that's around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And man, a lot of these folks haven't been treated like humans by anybody other than the other homeless people that they deal with. You know what I'm saying? And so for them to see just regular, just have regular conversations instead of like somebody looking past them or shunning them or whatever else. So you get surprised how much you hear, about people's stories. But then to get to the Bible study portion of it, and to see that participation that takes place, to see the Lord actually moving in that area, man, to see people actually getting saved, you know what I'm saying, giving their life to Christ. Yeah. And it's like, that's the part that's awesome. You know what I mean? And it's like, we're not really doing a lot. It seems like the impact is really big. We're just going down there and talking to people. Yeah. Just going down there and talking to people. You know what I mean? For sure. And having the Bible study, man. But the impact is really big, man. And so you want to talk about something that fills you up, man. Like when I don't know how to really describe it, man. But when like I've done stuff at church, you know what I mean? And I've been on, this ministry and that ministry when it comes to like usher ministry, walking people down and stuff like that. And like, that's fully necessary. Because every job has its use, right? And it has its purpose. So not to belittle anything, but I just didn't find the same level of fulfillment. That was more like a job, Okay. And which is still a huge part. You got service got to go on. You know what I mean? It's got to be seamless. So I'm not trying to put any shade on that, but shout out usher ministry. But it seems kind of it starts to, for me, it was starting to get kind of like just like routine,
stale.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But man, going and dapping folks up, you know what I mean? And it's a little uncomfortable sometimes when somebody goes to dap you up and it's like, and they go to bring you in, and it's like, oh, all right, you know what I mean? But you just, hey, man. But at the end of the day, though, man, when you start to get that love and you start to see people and that, chilling, hey, what's going on? Hawk? Close enough this time, dog. You know what I'm saying? It's like I don't even understand because I don't write my name out, so I don't know how people start messing it up. It says sock. Hey, I Hawk. It's like, yeah, you didn't hear that. I shock. You didn't hear that either. How do you? But but it's cool though. That's really,
the love is there.
Yeah, the love is there, man.
That's what's up, man. That's dope.
And so, like I said, that kind of refills, and I feel like giving back, man, when you can see people's appreciation. Also, when we had that basketball ministry, that's one of the bigger things. It's been years and years and years since I dealt with that. But man, seeing little kids, and then, hey, what's up, Coach Izzy? You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, that's dope. You know what I mean? And then when they can't even get to the net with the free throw, you know what I mean? And then they finally get that free throw and they look over, they see their parents, and then they see the coach, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's just little stuff, man. It's the little stuff that can kind of fill you up,
That's real, man.
So I think as long as we find, some things that we really have a passion for, some things that allow us to give back, not just have a passion for, because people have a passion for anything, but those things also impact how we can woosah. So if you're an artist, you like to cook, whatever it is that you like to do that allows you to kind of get into yourself and get out of yourself, I would say try to find those things and be intentional about putting some time aside for those things.
Yeah. That's good, bro. Good stuff. Okay. So I wrote down 2 verses just dealing with anxiety. I wanted to read them because the Bible is the instruction manual for the human life. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely is.
So The first one is First Peter 5:7. 5, chapter 5, verse 7 says, casting all your care upon him, he cares for you. Simple verse.
Mm-hmm.
God cares.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to hear your problems. He doesn't ever get like tired. You know what I'm saying? How many, how often are we just talk about serving. How many of us serve anywhere?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so, yeah, so let's talk about the church, man. Like, in the church, you got, in most churches, I think, a majority of the people that attend that church aren't serving. So you have the minority. I think I've heard it said like this, like 20% of the people do 80% of the work, or, you know what I'm saying? Something like that. So, and a lot of other people are just sitting in the pews or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so serving is a good way just to give of yourself, and it's a good way, it's a good avenue to, like, I guess, alleviate some of your problems because you're focused on somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like, if not enough people are serving and there's like a real need, then you're added, stress is being added to the few people that's
Correct.
being stretched out.
Very thin, yeah.
Stretched out thin. So we as a body of Christ, like, especially if you're a Christian, you attend any kind of church, you need to be serving somewhere.
Yeah.
It could be usher. Don't, you know what I'm saying? It's okay. You can still usher, parking lot ministry, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Greeter. Any of that stuff. All that stuff is important. It's needed. And it helps out the next person because, like, they don't got to, like, carry such a heavy load.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah. And then how many of us talk to God on a regular basis?
That's what I was going to say. To both of those points, that Peter, you say 2 Peter 5?
Mm-hmm.
5:7?
Yep.
Man, that's the first and foremost,
First Peter 5.
1 Peter 5:7.
Yep.
So that was, because all the stuff that we were talking about before was stuff that we can do physically, right?
Mm-hmm.
But before even all of that, the most important part is to bring it to God in prayer. You know what I'm saying? When you got a whole bunch when you got anything on your mind,
Yeah.
that's the first and most important part, is to bring it to the Lord in prayer, and that's something that I've been working at getting better with over the years, is not trying to tackle it on my own, whatever it is first.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Whether it's trying to find this or trying to go after that or trying to get rid of stress or whatever it is, but asking God first and then looking for an answer,
mm-hmm.
and then going after it from there. That's thing number one. But then thing number two, to your point about getting plugged in at a church, on top of giving back and on top of the release that gets from being, a blessing to other people and how you can be blessed, right?
Yeah.
Then you also become a part of a community. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You start to meet other people that are walking this thing out the same way that you are. You start to intermingle with folks, and the more involved you are in community, the more outlets you have to be able to get stuff off of your chest. You know what I mean? To be able to release some pressure valves. But if you just go to church on Sunday, you don't really know anybody in the congregation, the people that you deal with at work are toxic. Some of your friends might not be walking the same walk that you're living. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then, maybe you didn't grow up that way. It could be a lot more difficult to try to get yourself in a better space. If you're just trying to go at it alone or going for a Sunday relationship, man. But if you actually get in and plug in a little bit, next thing you know, you got people coming and checking in on you, speaking into your life. And you got a friend that you might have talked to on Tuesday and then Thursday and then Saturday, and you saw him on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And then slowly but surely, as two or more gathered, you're starting to walk your life out in a better direction. You know what I mean?
Right.
And some of the nonsense starts to fall off and some of the pressure starts to alleviate itself. So that's just another reason, definitely, to get plugged in,
No, that's well said. Yeah. All right, so the second verse I had was Philippians 4:6-7. It's a familiar one. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your request to God. And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. So I was having this conversation with Z today. Like, we're on this journey looking for a house, right? So we came across it's a house in Marietta.
Okay.
It's just strange because, like, I don't want to live in Marietta, right? I don't have anything against Marietta. It's just when I moved to Georgia, like Gwinnett County was like, I've been here like 99% of the time. Like even when I was living on my own, I was living in Johns Creek. I was right off the Chattahoochee River, so really I was
On
just
the, on the edge.
I'm right on the edge, so I'm still really. And then I always drove toward the Gwinnett County side. That's where everything was. So it's it's just unfamiliar. But anyway, she found this house, man. It was really different, really unique. It's really big too, but it's
Okay.
it needs a lot of work. Like somebody went in and like stole like here's a strange part. So house is empty. Somebody came in and took like all the kitchen cabinets, all the appliances, the island, everything, lights, all throughout the house. The trim, like the wood trim, like around doors and stuff.
Yeah.
They took that. They took the doors inside the house. They took like some of the high ceilings got like the beams
things. Yeah,
that kind of go across. They took those, like the sinks, whole toilets.
I mean, I'm just kind of blown away right now.
Yeah. So wood paneling that was on the wall, they took that.
So it's just like drywall? What do you mean the wood paneling?
Like it's just like certain decoration portions.
Okay,
Like there's
okay.
like built-in bookshelves that used to be there because like I found the house on YouTube when they sold it, tried to sell it the first time. Or I guess when they sold it like years ago, and it was like all nice.
So nice and everything, yeah.
Yeah. So, it's you can't even get like a regular loan. You got to get a rehab loan or whatever they call it, construction loan.
Yeah.
Because it needs so much work, and so it's a whole process, man. Like we walked through there, like none of the electricity was on, so we in there with flashlights. It was daytime, but like when you got to the basement, it got dark.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? And it was like obviously like musty down there, and like the moisture issue because somebody
dehumidify it.
Yeah, you can see like some of the mold forming in some of like the wood parts. So it's a lot of work, and so we've been in this like faith walk.
Yeah.
And like really just trying to like not be anxious, but through prayer and petition, make our requests known to God. Like, Lord, we love this. We really like this house. We don't know how we're going to get it because we got to get an estimate for like what the work needs to be. Now I have no idea what the estimate is going to, because I've never done that before. You know what I'm saying? So, so we just put a bid in for it. So this is one of those things. It's like, let's just move forward, not stress out about it, and just because we were trying to find a contractor. They don't really call you back. And it's like, and she was getting stressed out, and she got like a lot of stuff going on at work right now. Like all this stuff at work started like piling up at the same time. So, we just been encouraging each other and just like, hey, listen, let's not be anxious about this stuff. Let's just pray about it, walk forward. Ask God, like, close the door that you don't want us to walk through. If you don't want us to have this house, Lord, just make sure we don't get it. Just block it.
So, I got a question. What else did that? Can you read that Philippians again? 6 and 7, verse 6 and 7. What chapter was it?
Yeah. So Philippians 4, chapter 4, verses 6 and 7. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your request to God.
So that's the part that I wanted to kind of touch on for a second. It reminded me of the song, I think it's by Marvin Sapp, called Praise Him in Advance. And a gospel song came out in the early 2000s, maybe before 2010 or something like that, 2006 or 7. And it says, with prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving. And that's the part that I've had difficulty with. and the part that I'm trying to really step into, regardless, because I've been asking the Lord for this, that, and I believe, that it's coming with certain, actually with anything, and getting to that place we talked about before, where we're having a unrational expectation for things to take place in our favor, right? But how much thanksgiving am I giving in the situation, going through it? And so that's a question that when I was just listening to you say it a second ago, it brought me to the thing. He says the lyrics of the song is like, basically just praise him in advance through all the situation, when things are right and when things are wrong, whatever's going on, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's a very important part also, because we can just get caught up in the praying for it and the hoping for it, trying not to be anxious for it. But even in those moments, to find some way to give some praise in the midst of it. You know what I mean? Like, Lord, thank you for just even bringing this opportunity, for us to go through this situation.
Absolutely.
Regardless of if we get it or we don't get it. We just got that defects contract last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, 2-3 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
Last week we went, Invest Atlanta had the joint venture with Delta about how to become a vendor with Delta, doing business with Delta as a small business third-party administrator.
Tell the people what y'all doing, you and your wife.
So we started a DOT and non-DOT drug testing, DNA testing, and DOT physicals company a couple of months ago. And it's been growing slowly but surely, gaining ground, just meeting people, and the Lord's been really blessing it. So we got a contract with Department of Child and Family Services in Georgia to service 4 counties to start off with. So that's really huge for us. And
hit it with the air horn.
And looking to just keep continuing to grow it. We had 3 people come in today for DOT physicals. A couple people came in for a drug test. You know what I'm saying? So, and it started off where nobody was coming in a week. You know what I mean? And so now it's people coming in every day. But anyway, why was I saying that? So we were doing this thing with Delta last week about how to become a vendor with Delta, and been praying about these things. You know what I mean? Like, Lord, hopefully, prayerfully, this is in your will. We're trying to get this thing cracking. And then started switching that, like, Lord, we thank you for your, desire for us to have this in our lives, et cetera, et cetera. But then there's still that anxiousness of, are we going to get it? Are we not going to get it? Hopefully. And so where I'm trying to take the next level, I'm really trying to focus on. I was talking to Nadia about this also, the wife. And it's like, we really got to, the fact that we even know about the Delta opportunity, you know what I mean? So if we get it on this go round, or if we don't get it on this go round, we need to be thankful for the fact that we even know about it, and that we are, you know what I'm saying, we're being put on game. So if we didn't do everything right with this go round, look, thank you, Lord, for bringing this to us, and now we can know about it for next year, you know what I'm saying, and try to get after it in another way. And trying to push that more than just the asking and the fingers crossed and the, you know what I'm saying, and the anxiety of waiting to find out. It's like, Lord, either way, Lord, you know what I'm saying? We weren't doing any of this a couple of months ago, so you know what I mean? Yeah. And so that's, so just to encourage you guys too, to remember to throw some praise in the midst of the things that you're asking for,
The Bible is a book of formulas, man. Like, if you do this, then this will happen.
Right.
So if you learn to not be anxious about anything, but in those situations, send your prayers up to God.
Yep.
With thanksgiving, and present your request to God. Then the peace of God, which surpasses our understanding, so it doesn't even make sense. Like, you be in a situation and like, why do you have this peace after you've done this? It's not even going to make sense to your mind, but it will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. So we just have to like work on doing that, practice doing that. Cause like, you can't, so like I used to pray about like, Lord, please get me out this situation. Lord, please help me to avoid this and that. And it's like, you can't go through life avoiding hard situations. Like those are the things that God puts in your path to help to like build you and mature you. You know what I'm saying? So like we have to start praying better. Like, Lord, give me the strength to walk this out. Give me the strength to have patience in this. You know, give me wisdom so I don't have to prolong this longer than it needs to be. But I know you're teaching me something through it. Help me to reflect your glory in this situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, praise your way through it. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's really important, man. We got to like switch up, actually read the Bible.
Yes.
Right. And then do it.
So it's crazy. You was just talking about that, and it made me think about the Lord's Prayer. And, you know, he was giving the Lord's Prayer kind of like an instruction manual also on how to go about praying. You know what I mean? And lead us not into temptation. All right. So the Lord doesn't necessarily lead us into temptation, right? But we find ourselves in temptation. We find ourselves in those situations, right? But deliver us from evil, right? And so it doesn't say, you know, we're just going, hey, God, keep us away from this, or, you know, God, don't let this particular thing come upon us, or don't let us have to deal with that over there. It's like, look, we're going to end up in it no matter what, you know what I'm saying? But deliver us from it. You know, let us get up out of that thing. And you're right, if we are asking the right questions, if we're saying the right things. And also, man, to go back to what we were talking about last week about faith, man, are you believing what you're asking? You know what I mean? Are we actually believing it, or are we just kind of doing it out of routine and out of repetition, out of something that we were told to do? Or are we doing it out of actual belief and actual understanding of the power that's there? Because there's nothing that's more powerful than that, man. There's really not, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, man, just I've been reflecting on that all week. What we talked about last week with, you know, what he said with only expect the desires that you want. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like some magic thing like manifesting all this stuff, but it's just like it's a change of your mindset. So like even with this house, like the old Brandon would have seen this as like, yo, this is too much. But because we've been in lockstep with God, and we, you know, me and my wife, we talk, we communicate, and you know, we talked about like what does our best selves look like, and they aligned. And so now we have the confidence like with each other to like walk through it and pray along the way, and be like, you know what, let's just do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, what happens if like this is a daunting task? Like it was a lot. It's one thing when you look at the pictures. It's another thing when you're there, you see all the work that needs to be done, and then you got to think about like the electrical panel, even some of those wires were taken off. So it's like, how much stuff is wrong that we can't see? But it's like, what if this works out? How great would this house be? Because it's like I said, it covers like a lot of our needs and wants, and I can see like being able to host and serve and, you know, take care of people. You know what I'm saying? And just it does all that stuff. So.
And what city is it in?
Marietta. East Cobb, the nice part.
Yeah, I like it over there, man. It's actually nice.
It is nice. It is nice over there. So I was like, if this thing works out great, then it'll be awesome. So let's go for it.
Yeah.
And again, if it's not for us, then we got to the point where it's like, Lord, if this is not for us, then we're not complaining. We're good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if he doesn't want us to move at all, he just wants, even though our desire is to move, if he wants us to stay, I am 100% okay with that.
Yeah.
It took me years to get to this point.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like, I know now, like, wherever God wants me is the best place for me.
100%.
But also make your request known to God.
Right.
So it's a combination of telling God what you want, but prioritizing his will in your life. That's a sweet spot. And there's safety in that.
100%.
And there's rest in that. And there's comfort in that. And so if I have the option to like not have to go through life stressed out and worried, like I'm going to try to do that. Now, so, you know, I've had years of habits of not doing that. So it takes a while to like practice that. Sometimes you slip up, or my wife will slip up, and we have to like catch each other. But you know, it's like you just get back on track and just keep on chugging. So yeah, man, that's
good.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's real good. And this is for young folks, for older people. But I've really middle-aged folks, you know, folks where I feel like where we're at right now. And I remember being in PE in elementary school and having to like reach for the stars and stretch, right? And be in PE in, you know, middle school and high school or whatever. And I remember the coaches or the teachers saying stuff like, you know, you want to do this every day. You know, if you get up and stretch and do those kind of stuff. And for such a long period of time, it made no difference. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me personally, like, I was flexible. I was, you know, nimble. I could have done whatever I wanted to do. You know, I wasn't pulling nothing. It didn't make any difference. And so I didn't see the benefits of creating the habits, right? I didn't see the benefit of
you're a kid.
Stretching, because it didn't make any difference. Like if I stretch or I don't stretch, I can still go around for the next 12 hours.
You're invincible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But because I didn't start those habits then, now that I'm trying to go back and I realize what it is that I needed to kind of keep doing, it makes it more difficult to create those habits. So basically, if you don't use it, you lose it. And so I just kind of wanted to touch on the importance of staying active in some degree.
Which is also a good way to relieve stress.
That's exactly what I was about to say, man. One of the number one things, man, is something just as simple as just taking a walk. Literally, like just go down the cul-de-sac or up to the supermarket or whatever it is. You know what I mean? And
especially if you like work a desk job or something like that where you're not really moving, you got to make some intentional moves.
Man, go get some steps in.
Yeah.
People say that, but it's very real. Man, I found myself putting some headphones in, man, and walking around the supermarket for like an hour. You know what I mean? Just randomly, just, you know, just up and down the aisles. And was good, you know. We just needed to kind of get that, you know, just kind of get that out. And I wasn't like walking with a vigorous pace.
Oh, man,
you know what I mean? Sitting there speed walking with the hips. You know,
you would have ended up on somebody's TikTok.
I might try to just because he would
with some funny captions. Yeah,
but it was crucial because I think, and I didn't really understand this until now, but the mind and the body are two different things. And so, but where the mind goes, the body follows, right? And so like, oh, okay, put a pause on this. We got to go back real quick before I forget it again.
Let's go back.
So you were talking about there are principles. There's a, not just principles, there's a formula in the word, right? You do this, this is going to happen. And I was watching a video a couple of, maybe 8 months ago or something. And it was a scientist. He was a psychologist, a psychiatrist. He's talking about how to better your life, you know. I don't think, it wasn't a TED Talk, but it was something else similar to that, right?
Okay.
And this guy is talking about, man, you know, so you got to visualize yourself in this position. You know, you got to visualize yourself. He said, and not only visualize it, but believe that this is here for you. He's like, and as you start to believe these things, you know, it'll start to be the reality that you start to form, blah, 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 blah. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, man, he's not mentioned in the Bible at all. You know what I mean? But it's like, bruh, that's from the word. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but so to that point, you know, the formulas are so A plus B equals C or 2 plus 2 equals 4. They're so real that like you don't even have to be a believer to utilize it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know if this guy was a Christian or not, you know, whatever, but he never said anything about being a Christian. You know what I'm saying? He didn't say anything about belief or anything along those lines. He was just talking about practical application on this ideology of using your mind to create whatever it is by the power of your belief. You know what I mean? And but it's exactly what the word says. You know?
Yeah.
I tell you, if you have the faith of a mustard seed, you'll move the mountain to the, you know what I mean? So it's like whatever, but belief is the foundation of whatever it is that we're trying to accomplish. That goes back to that faith conversation. So
absolutely.
So I'm sorry. That was.
No, that's good. That's good.
It's kind of frustrating too. It kind of reminded me of this podcast. You know what I mean? So I wanted to kind of bring that up. So before we keep going, that's one of the things that I really want to do out here in this space is address some of these things that are being brought up as like just universal or new wave or these different type of ideas that people have been utilizing for a very long time, but they've been they call it appropriation, right? You're taking something that's not yours and trying to make it your own. So I just want to make sure that the original author, that the creator of these things are getting the recognition that it is like that's biblical. These laws of attraction, all these other kind of things that we're talking about, and the people you hear about, all of these things are biblical truths. That's where they were founded. That's where they were started, and that's where the truth is going to come back to, regardless. And so, as they come up and as these ideas present themselves, and as I hear stuff like that, I just want to make sure I'm putting it out there. Like, nah, this. Yes, a lot of people are going that direction and trying to figure the things out for themselves. But ultimately what they're doing is they're trying to understand the principles of God. They just don't know how to get to it. And somebody else figured it out, but they might not have given the credit because, just like Brandon said, the equation is still the same. But as you get to the root of that equation, you will find God behind it. You will find Jehovah and you will find Christ. So, yeah.
Well said, bro.
So anyway, back to the body part. Just get out there and go for a walk. If you got a relationship, man, grab your lady's hand and grab your husband's hand or something. Just go outside, just walk around the block for a second. And this is, it sounds so easy to do. Find a 10-minute YouTube routine that you can, stretch and do something in the morning and maybe one in the evening. And that sounds easy, but people get so caught up in their day,
Yeah.
Oh, well, I wait for the alarm to go off and then I hit the snooze and then I hit the snooze one more time. And I know if I hit the snooze a third time, then I only got enough time to wash my face and brush my teeth before I got to go.
Yeah.
I'm going to put the clothes on that's not wrinkled so I can just get to work on time. You know what
Absolutely.
I mean? And then you go through that and then you get home and you're tired and now it's time to decompress. And it's like, man, I'm full now. I don't really want to work out again.
Yeah.
And we got these excuses and they'll always be there. But you said something a couple of months ago, maybe a month ago or something. And man, I've been really trying to live my life off of that. And it was, think of the person that you want to be. Think about what that person looks like. Who is your ideal self? And what would that person be doing? See somebody that you look up to, have ideas that they're, doing something that you would like to do also. And what would that person be doing? I mean, that's really challenged a lot of my thought process and actions over the last little bit, man, because I'm kind of tired of being stuck in this particular place. Just ready for what it is that God has for me.
That's real. It's a good place to be when you're kind of get frustrated and like it compels you to do more. So that's good. Exercise, diet. Me and my wife, we're doing a cleanse right now, or there are detox, and so it's a 30-day detox. It's I'll plug it. Dr. Bobby Price. Few people know him. He's a doctor. He's just really big into health, of course, and exercise. But we're learning more about just eating healthier and doing stuff now. I'm 43, so like I got to start doing these things now because I don't want to be. You're going to be a burden on your kids because your body gonna get old. This is what it is. But like, I don't want to be a burden on my kids or my wife like too early because of the decisions I made. Because the fried chicken looked really good, you know what I'm saying, or that Five Guys burger was really good, which I had one not too long ago.
Man, you ain't really have to come with the examples though, right now.
I know,
that's what I'm saying.
My bad, dog.
You could just, you know what I mean.
My bad. So we've been drinking these teas, and like one tea is like to clean you out, so you gotta go to the bathroom a bunch of times, and the other one like gets rid of parasites, right? And they're both really bitter and not great tasting. The good thing is I think it helps with like my normal like cravings, and so like. With those teas, we've been eating vegan. So it's been, 8 days now? So we've been on the vegan diet, and it's a 30-day total, fast or whatever, or a detox. But we're kind of also doing it as a fast. And like, man, like I haven't really been having those cravings for like these bad foods. And like our kids, they, for dinner, they eat the same thing we eat. And so, today we had like this mushroom soup that my wife made with like some chopped up like cucumbers and carrots with like some homemade hummus. And so like, and the kids like they enjoying it, you know what I'm saying? And so it's just nice to see like them, and they'll be asking for more, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's nice to like see them like craving healthier foods and healthier snacks. So hopefully we turn it into a lifestyle thing. We'll see what happens though. You know what I'm saying? Like I do, like I told her today, like I do, like I feel feeling pretty good. You know, so I do want to conquer my like, you know, my food, my bad food habits and my cravings. And so like I kind of could see myself, I'm not gonna say like going vegan full time all the time, but just more often eating clean. You know what I'm saying?
Man, look, and outside of the like the benefits that you can quantify, right? Like there's cholesterol benefits or calories and blood pressure and diabetic, you know, what's the word? Insulin resistance, all those kind of things.
Yeah.
That starts to get helped out as you know, take care of yourself in a better way. But the other part, man, that like we don't really attribute to the food, and that's like how eating certain foods can make you feel a different way. You know what I'm saying? Like certain foods make you sleepy, certain foods make you more drained, or can build more anxiousness because of some of the, you know what I mean? Like there's all sorts of stuff that go on with how we're eating, and a lot of that stuff is with meat, man. And I haven't done enough of the research to say which is what and what is what. I've done a little bit of reading on certain things, but I just kind of did it in passing, not like with the conscious decision to make the change.
Yeah.
But it's very real though.
Yeah.
You know, it's very real. And so
yeah, I'm not an advocate of like, you know, meat versus no meat or whatever.
yeah.
But like typically like when, you know, whenever you get on some type of like diet or just change your eating habits. So like say if you're going vegetarian or vegan, or if you're doing just like grass-fed beef, cutting out, like say maybe cutting out pork, or, you know, you're not doing anything that's, you know, eating organic. And a lot of times people are, you know, different people will say different things, but a lot of times you'll be healthier because you're specifically eating certain foods, but you're also cutting out like a lot of other junk that you would usually be eating with it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, a lot of the processed, you know, foods and all the chemical stuff, like if you cut that stuff out, I mean, either way, you're going to be
100%.
You're going to come out on top. So yeah, man, that's a good way to relieve stress. And like we said, I think this was good, man. You got anything else?
Yeah. There's one more thing about relieving stress, and it's not something that everybody really can think of, or it's on people's hearts to do. But man, forgiveness. We're talking about the different things that cause stress, the different factors. And sometimes there's a grudge. Sometimes there's something that's weighing on our hearts. There's been something that somebody did to us. There's been something that we did to somebody and we feel bad about it. You know what I mean? There's a lot of times where something has not necessarily gone or been right, and it requires forgiveness to let that off. I'm sure we all heard some sort of like analogy. Forgiveness is, you know, it's like walking around with an anchor, you know, all these different things. And it's the truth, man.
Yeah.
When you're trying to go forward in life and there's something that's still attached to you from back there, whether you attached it or somebody else attached it to you, if you're trying to go there, you got to address that, you know?
Yeah.
And that's not the easiest thing for folks to do.
It's not, especially depending on the situations. Like,
yeah,
some people that have been wronged, like really wronged.
Really, really wrong.
You know what I'm saying?
So,
yeah.
Trying to get to a place where you're capable of forgiving somebody else that did whatever. It could be horrendous. And also get into a place where you forgive yourself for doing something horrendous to somebody. And it could require going and asking that person for forgiveness, but first and foremost, also forgiving ourselves for those things and repenting very specifically.
For sure.
And I think that when we get to a place where we could do that, sometimes it's like you don't even realize the weight that you're walking around with until you get to the place where you can do that forgiving. And then all of a sudden it's like, man, toes feel lighter, like you got a pair of Air Maxes on. Like, oh, wait a minute, okay.
Yeah.
With no shoes on at all,
Right.
So I think that's very crucial.
Yeah. I think, and for those of us who, we have a hard time forgiving people, like, ask God to give you the grace to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of this stuff you can't do on your own strength 100%. Anyway. So, like when I prayed, like, just be honest with God, like, Lord, I don't want to forgive this person. Like I want to hold this grudge and hold it over their head, but I know that you don't want me to live that way. And because I fear God, like, all right, well, you're going to have to help me, Lord, like, to forgive, you know what I'm saying? So, that's just what it is. But that holding that stuff in, and like, and scientifically, like, and doctors are finding out, like, those things that are the mental stuff that affects your physical body.
Where the mind goes, the body follows, dog.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, like, it's a lot of the practical things that, like, just the word tells us that we're finding out now has, like, these practical applications. Just like when you pray for your food, like, if you're eating your food and you're mentally in a state of, like, thankfulness, they found out that helps you to digest your food better, more efficiently. It's wild, right? I'm like, dang. It's like, it's weird. And it's like, and the Bible doesn't say that.
All right.
So it's almost like God will drop these little jewels and he'll wait for us to, like, discover some stuff that has, that's on top of that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so I really think, people had this big argument, God or science, you know what I'm saying? And man, I really think that science is just trying to figure God out, trying to prove God,
Absolutely, dude. God is, listen, God is not anti-science. Like, God is science.
Right.
You're just discovering more stuff about the things that he made.
That's a whole nother discussion. That sums it up right there. Yeah. It's another part. Matter of fact, make sure we
write that one down.
Got that topic down. Yeah. Because I want to get into that one.
Okay. So yeah, man. But no, that's good. That's good. I think that's we talked about a lot of good things. So hopefully, it's something that we're going to start using more, and hopefully y'all do the same thing. Like, because we all want to live. I think we all can agree. Like, nobody's like, you know what? I like being stressed. I never heard anybody say that before. So there are some things that most people do agree on. So let's, try to get there together, man. Like
100%.
Living faith, and less anxiety, less stress, less unforgiveness, healthier bodies, better choices.
Yes. All of the above. Stuff. Definitely.
Yeah. So that's great, man.
Hey, you know what? That's really dope how you just said that that's almost like a little outro. You know what I'm saying?
It is.
So that was kind of cool. So I think
it just flows out of me.
Yeah,
bro. I don't know what it is.
That was pretty on point. We got to look at that, man. Maybe we can kind of implement that going forward. A little outro saying or something. That was pretty dope.
I'm gonna copyright that. Make some money off that joint.
So yeah, though, man. Look, be blessed. Make it a great week. Not only have a great week, but make it a great week. Start implementing some of these things to make your lives better, and get into the word.
Get busy, but not too busy. Take some Woooosah. But after your Woooosah, get busy again. All right, man. We love y'all. It's B. Jones.
Izzy Aside.
We out. Peace.
And got busy.